going? Through the black magic. Hello. Are we coming through? Oh yeah, okay, I can see it on the bottom. Cool. Yeah, you like our intro there, Danny? I set Eddie on that about 4 o'clock this afternoon. He's like, yeah, I can do that. Now we just have to come up with some music to go with it.
We do. We need some music.
Yeah.
Because I can't sing.
Oh, neither can I. Oh, that's what you gotta do, Eddie. You gotta remix my rendition of Sweet Child of Mine.
That might scare everybody off.
Oh, I couldn't stop laughing when he played it back for me.
I'll
We had an argument over if autotune can make anybody sound good.
Yeah,
it cannot.
It cannot.
Oh, we got 2 minutes till we go live. How's the sound, Danny? Since you're the only one that's on our chat, are we coming through all right? And of course, she's not responding, so that tells me.
And we're not going to be able to hear her, right?
No, because
YouTube, so
yeah,
it's
this is YouTube.
just
It's not. Yeah. Can you type that, Eddie, for us? How's the sound? Just in case the sound's not coming through. We hear you. Okay, that's good. I love how she put all the R's in there. We hear you.
Was that for a reason?
I don't know. Okay.
She's angry. Or hangry, right?
Hangry?
Is that hangry?
Hangry, yes, hangry.
Dun, 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 dun,
Okay, yeah. So we have all our high-end tools.
Yeah, so that's how you're going to start, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Introducing the high-end tools.
Yeah, of course I gotta fix this so they're not looking at my fat belly.
Yeah, no daddy dancing.
Oh, there's a limitation to my entertainment value.
No daddy dancing allowed. Do, 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 do. And where's Tina? She's supposed to be here because she needs to learn how to do this machine, and so does Deanna.
Oh, wait, you know what?
Get on, but they may watch it later. A lot of people watch it later.
That's true.
All right. Oh, we got 30 seconds. You want to laugh?
Don't have a countdown clock.
Well, we could add a countdown clock to our
Title page.
To our title page, yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Look at Eddie. We just keep coming up stuff for you to do. You know, one of those spinning wheels.
Yeah. We got a couple things for him to do because if I'm supposed to pay him, I should make him work.
Okay, so music, countdown, green screen.
Yeah, I think green screen is next. Oh. You fixed it? Okay. What do you mean don't say anything about you, Danny? We wouldn't say anything about you if you weren't listening.
You can read that because I can't, because I forgot my glasses.
It's because I've got my $4,000 eyes.
I forgot my glasses, so this is going to be interesting.
Oh. Let me go. I got my old man glasses.
You'll have to you have to read the comments out loud though, because other people can see them, can't they?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if we read them out loud though, when they're watching the rerun, it would probably be helpful because they don't want to have to go through the chat.
Yeah, I noticed other people read it out loud and then answer
Yes.
it.
You guys ready? Yeah, we're ready. Are you ready?
We're ready. Woo!
Woo!
Don't I look like a Christmas present ready to be unwrapped?
I'm going to have to fix that real quick because I'm a little low on the screen. Or maybe I'm not low on the screen. Maybe it's just on the screen I'm seeing. I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Maybe it's
because I'm tall.
You are.
I need a box. You want me to stand on a box?
She needs to stand on.
Oh, that could be arranged. Anyway, good evening. Thanks for joining us here at Four Pines Quilting. I don't know if we have a name for this show yet. Well,
shout outs.
Shout outs?
Shout outs.
Shout outs to who?
Danny.
Well, see, I don't watch enough of these to know the proper format. Okay, so Danny.
Tina, where are you? Deanna, where are you?
How many people we have on? I think just one.
I sent out You're not supposed to tell everybody.
I sent out an email.
I didn't get it.
You need to send another
current
one
viewers
today.
too. And
you need to send it. You need to send it.
Yeah, I know. I should.
Too. That's all right, though. That's
We're
all
getting
right.
there.
Yeah.
Where'd the chat box go, Eddie?
It's right here.
Okay.
I'll send it.
All right. So anyway, I suppose we should get started. Today, we are going to fix machines. Not really fix. We're going to actually just quick troubleshooting how to clean type things.
We're going to get inside.
We're going to get inside. And I have arrayed before me, if you want to switch to this camera, Eddie, so they can see the high-tech tools that we're going to be using. These are all the tools necessary to get into your machine and kind of clean it a little bit. A screwdriver, a pen, A business card or a seam ripper. I prefer the seam ripper, and it's got to be one of these fancy ones with the blade.
It's not really a seam ripper. It's a seam
and a nickel
operator.
Those are all the tools necessary to do what we're about to do here today. And I see the skeptical look on Brenda's face.
Isn't this just for paying you? So if we bring in our machine and you fix it for us,
I get a nickel.
We pay you a nickel, and then we
nickel.
don't need these other things.
This is true. For a nickel, I might up to a quarter. That's an old looking nickel, though. What is that? Is that like?
It's probably the one I gave
So
you.
at one point, we got like a
machine.
So at one point, I got a nickel from went to like McDonald's. I got like a nickel. It was in my cup holder, and I looked at it. It was like a 1964. And Sarah's in the car, and I'm like, I bet this nickel's worth something because it's an old nickel.
Yeah, 5 cents.
And she's like, yeah, whatever. It's 5 cents. You know what? It was worth 10 cents.
Wow, you doubled!
Doubled my money. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we should probably get into this because I don't know if anybody's like actually on for this or they're going to come in later to watch this.
They'll watch it later.
Yeah, they're watching because it's Christmas. They're probably at home drinking eggnog and wondering. So, first thing you want to do when you're going to take one of these apart is we're just going to pop. It's easy. You can actually do it with the top on. I find it easier to just take that off and get it out of the way. You are going to want to lift it up at least because if you don't, it'll catch on this edge here. And maybe we should just.
You need it more on your machine. Right.
There you go. Let's go there. Let's
go
start there.
to the machine.
Let's go to that one there. Perfect.
Yeah.
So what you're going to want to do now, everything we're going to cover will work for a Luminaire and a Dream machine, and I believe this should also count for a Quattro. So like I said, the top may want to come off. What you run into if you don't.
I'm already topless. Just saying.
Yes. But if your top's closed, you're not going to be able to pull this end off. So you have to have at least it open. And you know what? I'll probably just leave it on this one because it's Luminaire. Anyway, so first thing you want to do is you take your pin, our high-end
tool. It's not as easy as you think, is it?
And all we're going to do, actually on the Luminaire you don't need to do this. On the Dream machine, let's go over to this one here. What's that? Oh. On the Dream machine, you'll need the pin to pop out on the edge here.
You don't have to do it. I just have to do it.
Is pop out the edge here. You're going to have two little covers that cover your bolt holes. So you just put your pin in there, and
they
that
cover
pops
my
in.
what holes?
Your bolt hole, your bolt holes. Bolt screw holes. They can be screw holes if you want to.
They cover my screw hole.
Your screw hole, yes.
That's not much better than the first thing
So,
you called it.
I called it a bolt hole because they're bolts. They're not screws.
You can't say it. I have an accent.
What's that? I have an accent?
No, I have an accent.
Oh, I got in trouble. I didn't realize I had an accent until I went to school. In college, they used to pick on me because of my R's.
It's called
the R's. They'd make me sing things like car and... No, R. They really thought it was hilarious how I said it. But anyway. So you'll notice here on the end, we just used that needle to pop those out.
What did you pop out?
The other thing, it's not on this machine. That's why I'm over here. The other thing that you can pop out, and I'm gonna switch back with you here, Becky.
I'm just looking because I don't have those. I'm jealous.
So you have them over here. So on this machine here, and this is going to be the same on the Luminaire and the Dream machine. Right here on the top is another little spot. You just push that in, pop that out.
What do I get? I have one of those.
Yep, and I'm going to give you. So that's just going to come out, and there's a screw there. What's that?
How come I don't have my own tools?
I didn't think to get you a pin tool we can share because this is sharing.
That's not COVID friendly.
Sharing is caring.
Not COVID friendly.
So we got first thing you said you want to pop all our.
I matched my mask to my jewels.
I did notice that. It's very festive.
Yes.
If you're for like Valentine's, it's not very festive for Christmas though.
It is.
It's pink.
Pink is the new Christmas.
Okay. There's so many comments I want to make on that. I just can't. So many. I'm told though if you talk politics, it's good for YouTube. But there's.
No.
Oh, which reminds me. Okay. I heard a great conspiracy theory.
Oh, God.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I mean, this is a total sidetrack, but I was reading this the other day. I'm thinking there might be onto something. You know, you can't see like mirrors and vampires don't show up in mirrors, right?
Yeah, I'm squirreling out.
Yeah, but vampires don't show up in mirrors, right?
Right.
So if you look in your rearview mirror, and a vampire's
Far
crossing
enough
the
away
street,
from Jim Boy.
and a vampire is crossing the street behind you, and you're using your rearview mirror, you'd hit the vampire, right? Because you wouldn't see him in your mirrors.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'd see a vampire. Period.
But
okay.
but hear me out. Here's the theory, though.
Here we go.
You will fail your driving test if you don't look behind you and backing up, which means the DMV is in on it. They don't want you running over vampires.
They don't do anymore because you have those cameras.
But would vampires show up in that? That's what I'm saying.
Probably because that's not a mirror.
There's a
it's
government.
A camera.
There's a government conspiracy to protect vampires.
Okay, all right.
Well, that's a good thing.
I don't believe you.
I'm just saying. Somebody was telling me that, and I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Anyway, that's absolutely
Okay.
useless. Okay, so anyway,
Alright,
we
it
popped
is.
the little covers off all the holes. Now, over on the Luminaire, this is where the Luminaire is a little different, because I did a video on this probably about a year ago. And everybody's like, you got to do the Luminaire because I don't have the screws on the side.
Oh, do I
On
get
the
to take
Luminaire,
those out?
if you'll notice, actually, let's go to this camera here.
I'm jumping ahead.
If you look
Lefty
on the
loosey,
Luminaire,
righty-tighty.
you've got 2 screws right up here on the side. Because that's the side of your machine, you don't have any screws here. You've got 2 screws up here. And I'm trying to get the
And my
angle
2
right, and I'm just
screws
probably
are
making
on
everybody
the
see it.
side, and your 2 screws
Yep.
are on top.
Yep,
Okay.
so you can go ahead and take those screws out.
Oh, I'm
and,
ahead of you.
So on the Luminaire, you don't have to take the screws out. You just have to loosen them. I usually bring them off about a turn and a half, maybe 2 turns. And then all you got to do on the Luminaire is take it off a little bit, and if you'll notice, I'm going to turn this sideways so you can see it a little bit better. You take the screws out here, and this just you come up, and that just slides right out. So you don't have to take the screws all the way out. You just enough to slide that out. Now the other thing on the Luminaire, let's set this up so we can see it. Now you do have a couple screws on the side here, and you'll notice you've got these are the 2 screws that are going to be almost identical to what you get on the Dream Machine. So these 2 screws are going to come out.
Just hidden underneath.
They're hidden under that. The other thing that the Luminaire has is you'll notice there's 2 more screws here. These have to be loosened because they pack that projector and lasers and cameras in there. They've got this little door that makes this almost impossible to get on. So you loosen these 2 screws up.
Does that
And this
mess up my projector or
No.
my laser by
No.
loosening those screws?
No. All these screws do is if you loosen these up, you gotta loosen them up enough to get this off, is there's a little trap door that opens up, or is supposed to open up. Come on. Why does it not want to? There we go. And so you see that those screws just slide down and that
It
opens up.
from the bottom.
Yeah. So you see
Okay.
that space there that you have there.
Yep.
That now allows you to pull this off, because if you don't do that, you can get this off without loosening those screws, but it's really hard, and you could mess up the electronics and stuff underneath. So you loosen that up, and that just is enough it gives you enough space to pull that off.
Okay.
And so then you just
And when would you recommend they pull this stuff off?
Honestly,
Why are we deciding to open our machine in the first place?
once we get in there, I'll show you
Okay.
the things to look at.
Because I have opened my Luminaire up already, and I think I made a bigger mess than.
Yeah, you're typically we're starting out on the top. Honestly, the bottom is where you'd probably want to spend more time if you're troubleshooting things. So that's going to open this up. Now,
And we're not plugged in.
we're not plugged in. Do not be plugged in. That's a bad idea to be plugged in.
You're just
All right, so
no cords.
So we've got the end off here. The other thing we want to do is we want to take this screw out right here on top. There's a little screw right here on the top. You already took it off.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
in my head.
Yeah.
I have less screws on mine.
Yes.
When you really think about it.
So that cover there, this is just going to be your tension. And you may want to get into there
I need to get in there.
as I zoom in and make it. Oh my gosh.
Oh, God.
I know.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see that. So this here's your tension assembly, and you may want to. And there,
This
I'm not telling you
black,
to
the
do
black
this.
thing?
That's that black
Oh.
wheel is your tension. Now this is all handled electronically. There's a little motor on the back side there that controls that. But if you look closely right here, this little screw, let me turn the machine a little bit. Can you see it? Yeah, you can kind of see it. See that little nub right there, that little screw?
Yeah.
That is that's a manual tension adjustment. I would not recommend playing with this. But if you find that you run on your machine, you have your tension set to like a -8, and you can't make it any lighter, you can physically adjust your tension here. This is a manual adjustment.
Is it that little wheel thing?
Yeah, that little wheel.
Ah.
You would have to muckle onto it with a pair of pliers to move it. But this makes a manual tension adjustment that can loosen or
Because
tighten.
I see the spring.
Yeah.
Oh.
See, now you'll notice that spring, you have a little bit of spring
Some
action.
movement.
Yeah, now if you'll notice on mine, I don't have movement.
Uh-oh.
You know
How
why?
come I have movement?
Okay, good question. Go back to the other. If you'll notice, she has movement on hers over here.
Mine
It wiggles a little bit, but mine does not. It's nice and tight. The difference being is the foot. If you look down here, my foot is down. Well, you're unplugged.
Off.
Becky's foot is up.
Oh.
So if your foot is up, you have no tension, and so the reason that spring is loose is because there's no tension on your
And
on the
that's
top.
why your foot is
Yeah.
up when you thread your
Exactly.
needle, because this thing gets out of the way.
Yes, and you always pro tip, because we're full of pro tips, you always want to thread your machine with the foot up. Now, these high-end super machines will not let you thread them with the foot down, but your regular run-of-the-mill, any like your entry-level or less expensive machines will let you thread with the foot down. But if you do thread it with the foot down, the thread might not set properly in the tension wheel. So you always want to thread
Because
your machine with the foot up.
Tension down.
Yeah, because the wheels are closed, so the thread's not sitting in there. So with the foot up, the wheel opens a little bit so that you can get the thread in there.
I don't see anything to clean on this.
There really isn't, because these are pretty clean right now. All right.
I was hoping for
So we've got the top opened up. There's one other thing you may want to do while you're in here, and then we're going to show you what to look for once you get in here. Now, this is where it gets fun. And I'm going to try.
If you ruin that machine, I will hit you.
I'm not going to ruin it. I'm just trying to get the right camera angle so you can see what I'm doing. See, this is kind of nice. The last time we did this as a video. I didn't have all these cameras, so you couldn't see
I like
it all.
that you're getting right in.
So, the next thing we're going to do is this here. Let me pull it
Yes,
out a little
Ed?
bit.
There's a comment that says, "Hello, what's up for Kimberbell in 2021?"
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, Jocelyn wants to know about Kimberbell.
Oh. Wow. Mugrug 4. We're waiting for Mugrug 4.
And Mugrug 4 will be here shortly.
And I'm on the list already.
Yeah, and it will be here shortly because I just got the bill for it yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
So it should be here
And
later
any
this week.
events you want, you just got to let us know.
Yes, because
Right?
with the virtual event thing, yeah, we're going to try and do more events.
Yep. And I don't know if anybody's interested in those blanks.
Yeah, you went through.
I'm on the fence on the blanks. I'd like to hear if people think the blanks are a worthwhile adventure for the shop, because we have to buy a minimum of 25 of each blank.
And that's like teddy bears and stuff?
No, it's the first one's really cute, but after that, I don't know.
Okay.
No, it's new. They're new tote bags. They're new zipper bags.
So-
Some linens. It's a lot. It's
A
a
lot.
big investment for the
Okay.
shop.
So, yes, Jocelyn, we'll be doing a lot more Kimberbell, that's for sure. Because Becky's in charge of it, and she's more organized
I'm not
than
in
me.
charge of it.
You're kind of in charge of it. She's more organized than I am. So when somebody says, let's do an event, and I said, hey, Becky, want to do it? She says, yes. Then it just magically happens if Becky says she's doing it.
Well, you just have to tell
If
me.
I- if
I'm
I- if
all
I-
what people want. That's
Yes.
what I want.
Let
I
us
don't
know
wanna
what you
look at
want,
myself,
Jocelyn.
Josh. I don't want to look at myself.
Yeah, Jocelyn, tell us what you want to do, and then we'll make it happen. Because, well, you know, we love you. We do. Jocelyn's nice. Anyway, back to what we were
Yeah,
doing.
the sewing machine.
So anyway, what we were talking about. Yeah, so if you look, this right here, that's where your thread would go down. What we're going to do is if you look closely here, where I've got the machine, let me see if I can get in there at the right angle so you can kind of see there we go, just right there. What you've got in here is you see, I'm going to put my screwdriver, see that little nub right there? That's all that's holding this plastic case on.
What did she say? The monthly blanks?
Monthlies like the first and third, but have not seen the others. Yes.
But so she likes the blanks.
Okay, yes. Oh, I forgot to mention, well, you might be able to do it without that. You should. If you look carefully, as I put my finger in there, I'm just pulling that away, and you see how that plastic is coming just beyond that nub. You see how the plastic sits on the nub, and I pull this here, and that just pops right out.
Oh, jeez.
And so you're just going to pull that out. You pull it from the bottom up,
That was an awful noise.
and you may have
Did
to.
it crack?
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I You're just trying to sell parts now. Everybody's gonna break their machines.
Well, you can do
what
that.
a way to get business.
Yeah, well, you can just pull it out. You can. I will admit that sometimes I'll put a little flathead screwdriver in there to pop it out, but because it wasn't in a high-tech tool.
It wasn't in our toolkit.
Now, the reason that we get into all there, now we can see everything you want. Now, if you're looking at a Dream Machine or a Luminaire, they're gonna have all this stuff over here.
But I can't see mine like you.
That's because you have to pop that off.
Oh, I have to take this off.
Yeah, like I just did.
Oh gosh.
And all you do, same thing, is you pull this over, just a hair. Well, you know what? We're not gonna make awful noises, so you feel better about it.
You just took a knife out.
Yep, and then you just
that
pop it
makes
out.
awful noises.
And you may have to rotate your arm down a little bit, but you might have to rotate your take-up lever down so it pops out. Yep. So now the reason that you may want to get in here, because look at all that funness. If you look, all this stuff over here you don't care about. That's your laser, your projector, and all that. What you're really interested in, if you ever get this far as a home user, is all of this in here. This in here is where you ever, if I have a machine that's been in the wild for a few years, a lot of times they'll come in here and they'll have thread wrapped up and jammed all up inside here. So sometimes you're going to want to get in here just so you can get the thread cleaned out. And you can see as we rotate, and the other place is right there. That bushing right there is where all the thread gets wrapped around and makes a mess. Over time, if you get thread wrapped in there, it will start to, you can actually seize up your machine if too much thread gets wrapped around this.
You should have put some thread in here so I could pick it out.
Well,
It is kind of brownish grossiness.
yeah, that's because, well, let's go over to this machine, brownish grossiness, because that's what we want to see. This is a good example.
Is that dirt?
It's dirt, but what you'll run into is this will, you'll get thread, it'll get black and nasty if you get thread buildup in here that just gets disintegrated over time and packed in between there. And what will happen is, like I said, it'll get seized up. That's one of the big things. When I have a machine that comes in, a higher end machine like this, they'll come in of my machine seized up. 9 times out of 10, it's because they've got years of thread wrapped around this. And the fix to it, which I wouldn't recommend because it gets a little funky, is you have to pull this bolt right here out. And then once you pull that up, this separates and you get all the thread out. But to get in there with a screwdriver, you've got to do a little bit of disassembly over here. So you don't want to do that. You do want to do, is the reason I'm showing you this, is if you do get thread wrapped around there, you can get in there and pull it out if you need to.
With a good pair of tweezers and
A good pair of tweezers, yeah, or a needle nose. And it's going to get wrapped right in that area there, and you may see some over there.
Yeah, this one looks pretty good.
And the other thing that you want to look at while we're in here, is I'm just going to move my camera up a little bit, is this right here is your tension disc. Now my foot is down, so my disc is closed, and luckily Becky's is up. So we'll come over here.
And I have my spotlight.
And she has a spotlight. So if you look at her tension disc, you'll notice it's slightly open. Now, this is important because sometimes you'll get fuzz, lint, and everything built up inside there. And if you have even the smallest piece of lint in there, what happens is that cannot close all the way, and you have no tension. So what happens is that disc closes to create tension, and if you get lint or just a piece of thread, like if it broke and it shredded, and it holds that disc open a little bit, then you'll have, then your tension will always be out. You'll never be able to fix your tension because those discs can't close all the way. So by getting in here, you can really see if there's anything in there. You want to go back to this one here, Eddie?
Will that cause the
shredding? We'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
And because it's spring loaded, all you have to do is just pull that open with with your thumbnail. You can,
Mine's nice and clean.
Yeah, and it should be fairly clean in there because that's nothing is in there except thread, and that should keep it, wears it clean. And you just pull that open. You can use a screwdriver if you want or thumbnail, but you can get in there and look. And sometimes you'll see a piece of thread actually on the back side in there. But that's just a quick check there. Now, the other question that I sometimes get is my thread is shredding, and then the upper tension alarm keeps going off. If that happens, that is down here. Let's see if I can get an angle on that.
Aha! I found something after all. Some thread way back here.
Dev says hi.
Hello,
Hello, Bev.
Bev.
Shout out to Bev. Are you taking your machine apart right now?
And
Oh,
so-
is this Bev's machine I'm taking
No,
apart?
oh, yeah. So,
Kidding.
if you look down in here, you can't really see it on the camera.
Yes.
But if you ever get in here, you'll notice there's this bar right here, and underneath that there is a spring. Now that spring actuates every time your needle goes up and down, and what will happen is you'd be able to see this if you had an issue. Is sometimes shredded thread will get caught on that spring, and that doesn't, and it stops going up and down, and that will cause.
That I'm going up and down. Can you make yours go up and down so I can see what you're talking about?
Oh, you won't see without thread in there,
Oh.
but we'll go up and down just
I
so.
don't know what
for
the
it's fun.
spring is that you're talking about.
The spring is over here.
Oh, I see it now.
No, it's down here.
That thing right
no, it's
there?
down here.
Oh.
If you look from the side here, right underneath there, there's a tiny little spring.
Oh my God.
Where
It is a tiny
if you're
spring.
looking at your threading of your machine, here we'll go over to
And
this
that's
one.
where you think.
If you're looking at the threading machine, see where this says number 3? There is a spring right underneath there on number 3.
Oh.
So I'll move this so you can kind of see it from this angle here. Back over here, ready?
And that's
So
what
it's going to be
gets
right
tangled
here.
up
There's
in
a
there.
little tiny spring in there. If that gets thread stuck on it, or if you somehow gets sticky, if you're running some sort of sticky mess, I don't know why.
Oh, sticky back stabilizer.
Yeah,
so
or
that
if somehow
goes up in there?
you get some sort of adhesive in there and that spring gets stuck, then your machine will be throwing a thread upper thread break tension, because that spring going up and down is what tells your thread break sensor if the thread is broken or not. So that's a quick check. If you look in there and you see a ball of fuzz right there, then you just clean that ball of fuzz out, and then your shredding issues and your thread break thread break sensor issues would go away. Again, a lot of this, if you just want to bring your machine in, I would take a look at it for you.
For a nickel.
For a nickel. So that's pretty much anything that you'd have to do on the top.
Do we ever have to oil or anything?
No,
Do
you shouldn't have to.
It's all going to stay
Yeah, you
greased
can
up?
put a little bit of oil where we're pointing out where the thread sometimes gets wrapped around. You can put a drop of oil in there if you wanted to. You don't really need to worry about it too much. There's a self-lubricating, super technological awesomeness.
Okay.
You shouldn't need to oil it.
Now, what about using canned air?
Canned air is a bad idea, because what happens with canned air, and we'll get into that when we get into the bottom, but if you ever use canned air, the problem with canned air, especially so say I used canned air here and I start spraying it, what happens to all the dust and fuzz? It all gets shot back into the machine over there. So we don't want to use canned air, because what happens is I've taken machines apart that people, I clean it all the time, I use canned air. I open up the back, that's this over here,
And you're not going to show
and
us
it's
how to do
packed.
that?
Oh no, you don't ever want to get in there.
I don't?
No. There's no need to get in there.
Is it the same screws as I
It's the same screws, but you don't need to get into this end of the machine. You can if you want, but you don't need to. The only thing you would need to do over there is timing, which if you have it,
It's
that's
just
a
that
other issue.
We've had problems with these controller feet going bad.
Yes. Anytime that you would need to take this end of the machine apart, bring it in and we'll sort you out. From a standard maintenance. Well, if you want to take it apart and then bring the parts in when you're done, then we'll put it back together for you. Not sure if we've done that too. But there's really no need to get over here. If you messed your machine up enough that you need to get into this side over here, you probably want to bring it to a dealer, because if it's that messed up, then there's probably parts that you're going to need to get. Because any of your dust, dirt, lint, any buildup all happens on this end of the machine, and mostly on the bottom end. You don't get a lot on the top. You get some lint on the top, but everything is going to settle to the bottom.
Okay.
So you can put a couple drops up here, but even machines I've seen out there that have been,
Hey, this one's still, I can feel, still oily.
yeah,
on it.
and this machine's been run hard. This gets run all the time.
Yeah, the buttons are all worn out.
Yeah, a machine that's been run hard, even this one's got 60 million stitches on it.
Wow.
And we've cleaned it a couple times, but we don't clean the top an awful lot. And there's not a lot you might get some lint and dust up there, but it's not going to be enough that you need to worry about it. The big thing, like I said, is where you get the thread wrapped around the counterweight. That'd be the only thing I'd worry about there. All right, so that's the top of the machine. Like I said, it's fun to look at. And there's not a whole lot there.
And if there's tape, we probably shouldn't take it off.
You don't
and
want
look.
to mess with the tape.
Okay.
Because the tape covers contacts and all that. And like I said, there's a lot going on here. You've got scanners, you've got lasers, you've got all sorts of
But
fun
look
stuff.
at this. This sort of just
Because
flopping.
this has been taken apart a few times to clean, and it probably got knocked loose or whatnot.
Okay, so should I try to put it back?
If you want, yeah.
Oh, it's not going back.
Well, see, that's probably why it's not where it should be, because I tried to put it back and it didn't fit.
Yeah. All right.
And then I thought, well, maybe I should just weld it. And then I was like, that's a bad idea.
No, we should just get some Kimberbell tape.
Okay, there you go. But is it non-conductive?
I don't know. Want to find out?
We could.
We could find out. Another use for our tape.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's that. And what Becky's playing with there is the laser. And if you do too much jostling and playing with that,
Leave it alone.
you have
Is that what you're saying?
no, you're fine, but you may have to
Okay.
recalibrate it. And you shouldn't have to unless you like hit it with a camera or hit it with a hammer or something. But
Okay. That's the laser?
yeah, this little screw here. I'll show you. Here,
Interesting.
let's
Interesting.
we'll get at it with this. See the laser. So this assembly right here is your laser, and if you'll see, there's a little threaded rod right there.
Mm-hmm.
That threaded rod, the laser rides in there to move the laser back and forth.
Oh, isn't that cool?
So so when you set your laser width, that's what happens
So,
there.
Is that what scans too?
No,
Okay, that's a
the scanner is
Okay.
stationary.
Okay.
That's why your hoop moves when you're scanning.
Oh, true.
So there's lots of fun technical information there. But like I said, getting into the top,
to me.
this is the most you're ever going to want to disassemble your machine on the top end. And most you're going to want to do is brush it and hit it with a vacuum. That's what I do 9 times out of 10.
A vacuum?
Yeah.
You're not afraid you're going to suck something
No.
out that you shouldn't suck
The way
out?
these are made, nothing's going to
You
get
mean
sucked
a
out.
little vacuum?
I
not
would,
a shop.
Yeah, I'm not going to say get one of those Typhoon, Hurricane, Dysons that could...
What vacuum would you recommend for us little people who want to suck stuff up?
We just use a small shop vac.
You really do use a
Yeah,
shop
that
vac.
guy right there.
Oh,
A
God.
little 2.5 gallon shop
Alright.
vac works fantastic.
Uh-huh.
And you can buy like little adjustments. So our producer is Eddie. Here, this is
Thank
what
you,
we
Eddie.
use.
There it is.
Yeah, look at that in all its glory. And you can get
It's a stinger.
a stinger. A stinger. We got ourselves a stinger here. Yes, indeed.
Yes, you do.
Yes, indeed.
So I've seen those little dinky things though.
Yep, those
They're
work.
not. They're not.
Yeah, you can use use
Okay.
like a little keyboard vac. I mean,
Yeah.
the problem I have like a keyboard vac, you can buy like those super fancy electronic,
They're not
Card
strong
detail.
enough.
and then you pay $30 for it, and it might work. Whereas you
Oh.
can buy a $15 shop vac, and
I
it works
just would
fantastic.
be afraid of sucking these wires out.
Oh no, nothing to worry about.
All right.
Nothing to worry
Then
about.
I'm going to be trying that now.
And if you do, and if you do, the beautiful part of that, if you do suck the wire off, okay, it's an electronic, and
Yeah.
electronics are covered for 6 years under warranty.
Are they?
So,
Even
yeah.
if I do it?
Sure, why not? If
Oh
I'm putting
my
the
Lord.
warranty claim in, I'll be like, yeah, the wire fell off.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, all it's an
Oh.
electronic component, so it'd be covered under
Awesome.
warranty. Yeah, so there's that. So that's the top of the machine. Now let's get into the bottom, where the real cleaning takes place. Now, are we ready for
You
this?
can't get this one off without a screwdriver.
Well, that's why we have the nickel. Now, if you have a Luminaire and you're blessed with a Luminaire, and I've actually seen ladies that buy the Luminaires just because of this right here. Or should we go over here? I'll go over here. This is a selling feature that I didn't realize was a selling feature.
I didn't either, so I'm
Oh,
but
big
watch.
time.
Watch.
I'm watching. 'Cause
Watch how to remove this plate over here. We come over here,
Oh, I knew that.
and that comes
Okay.
right off.
I thought you were going to take the whole arm off or something.
No, that just pops right
Yeah,
off.
see, that's why I'm like, I need a screwdriver.
Yeah. Now, if you come over here, well, so,
Let me get out of your
Yeah.
way.
so over here we're
Hands.
using a nickel, and the nickel is actually used when we go to tech classes. That's where everybody uses a nickel or a
Can
quarter.
you use the fancy screwdriver
You
that
c- it,
came
it does
with
come
our
with
machine?
it does come with a fancy screwdriver, but 9 times out of 10
They
I can't find them. So
Mine's right here all the time.
so a nickel fits right in those
Two
screw
until I
holes,
Put it somewhere else.
and it loosens
Why you
right
need
up.
more than one?
And while we're actually over here, let
I
me
keep
just
one on the cutting/hooping station and one on my
and while we're
sewing
here,
machine.
this is designed. Can we see that? Yeah.
We're just gonna get a pretty
If you put your
necklace.
finger in the back there, that pops right off.
That's the next thing we need to sell.
What necklaces?
Necklaces to hold our screwdrivers.
Okay.
with our, you know, along with our clippers and our eyeglasses and our masks.
I'm thinking we
and
should.
our,
I think we should just buy like a. Have you seen like those cool like steampunk vests? Or like the leather vest with like all the pockets on it.
Okay, I gotta tell you,
Wouldn't that be cool? Like,
I got something cooler.
Like it's got a vest, it got like a pocket for everything.
Okay, I got a chicken apron for Christmas last year to go and collect eggs in. Which means it's got a zillion teeny tiny pockets in it because you can collect 18 eggs in this apron.
But imagine if you tripped and fell with all those eggs in there.
No, but listen, this is not what I'm using it for.
Okay.
I use it in my craft room.
You have 18 pockets for.
18 little pockets for, because each egg has its own pocket in this apron.
Oh, nice.
And you can just load it up. Okay, this one's good to pen. This one's good to this.
So we don't
this
need
one's good to this.
necklaces. We just need egg aprons.
Well, not everybody has an egg apron, but
Well,
we can make
we
them.
could make an egg apron.
We can make them.
We could.
Probably could even do that in the hoop.
I bet we could. That sounds pretty exciting. An egg apron.
But we'll have to call it something else because
Yeah.
we're not putting eggs in it.
Yeah, but what would you call it? It's got to have like a really cool name.
Yeah, we'll come up with something.
Okay. But it's gonna be like a name that has something to do with what it is, or just some random name, like a layer cake. I mean, a layer cake is like the most random name for fabric, but yet that's what they call
it's
it.
layers.
But
And
there's
it's
nothing.
shaped like a cake,
That's not. Does it shape like a cake?
and that's only a moda term,
Yeah, but everybody calls them that because
but
Moda
not
invented.
really.
Well, they
Supposed
can't
to.
because Moda like copyrighted it or something.
Yeah.
Same
But
with
anyway, move on.
same with like
chicken
jelly rolls.
apron. We'll come up with something.
All right,
You're
I'm
all
gonna
going
move-
to
I'm
be
gonna-
jealous
I'm
of my
gonna move back
chicken
over
apron.
here.
Just saying. If I should have brought it tonight, I would have had a pocket for all these pieces. I wouldn't
Yep.
lose anything.
Chicken apron.
Yeah.
I think chicken apron sounds way more fun than an egg apron.
Well, it's got chickens on it.
So we just pop this off, and this is going to look the same as the Dream Machine once you take the cover plate off, and then your
We're
bobbin
not
case.
taking anything else off?
We will. I'm just showing people you want to take your bobbin case out, and set that aside, and we'll get into that in a minute. Then the next thing we want to do. I took your screwdriver. I'm sorry. The next thing we want to do. Now we're gonna take some,
I found some goodies in this one.
that one's got all sorts of goodies.
My gosh, man. Nobody cleaned that bobbin area out?
That's why we have that one queued up. That one gets a lot of use.
Wowzer.
All right, so what you've got here is this top hole here is an aligning pin for your embroidery arms. You don't care about that hole.
Okay.
This hole down here is where the screw's at.
Another butthole.
Yep, and this is the same on the Luminaire and the Dream Machine, so this pops right out,
Now,
and that comes out.
would
Now,
you say that 90% of our thread issues are in the bobbin area?
I would say yes, 90 to 95% of our thread, most all of your problems are going to be down here.
So the first thing we would take apart, well, except if you know it's the upper thread.
Yes.
I can't say that word. Shredding.
Shredding, yeah.
Then you would look up in here.
Yes.
But if, well, yeah, I was going to say, oh, wow,
Nine
look
times,
at the
yeah,
stuff in here,
nine times out of
peeps.
10, it's on the bottom. And
Wow.
even well, I say that there's
Even the shredding can happen
on
down
the bottom.
there.
One of the big issues that you run into is the top tension having a piece of fuzz or lint in there.
Yeah, and I
That's-
never would have looked there.
Yeah, that is probably one of your bigger issues, and that manifests itself with giant loops on the bottom. It looks like you've got issues with your bobbin because you've got these giant loop rat's nests on the bottom, and that is actually your tension on the top is way too loose. So if you see those big consistent loops on the bottom, a lot of times it's your top tension is too loose, and it's what's happening is there's not enough tension to pull the slack back out of the thread, so those loops just get stitched in underneath. So that is going to be probably 25% of the time.
Right there. I never even knew to check
Yeah,
there. So
that's the
cool.
that's the first thing. Once you see the problems, you know what to look.
Can
look,
you take this piece off before you take this piece off?
Yes.
So
You don't even
I
need
could
to.
peek here first.
Yes. You don't even need to. We'll go
That's
back over here.
probably what I would do.
9
Peek.
times out of 10, I'm going to go with this machine here.
Yep.
You don't need to take any of this off. If you just take this off, you can get access to this to see what's going on.
That's
that-
just one little screw.
That's just one screw, and that really is, if you're having any sort of any sort of tension issues, that is a quick, easy check. Now you're not going to be able to get down here and check that check spring, or see any thread wrapped back there, if you don't take all of this off. But most of the time, you don't need to go this far. Just taking this off, this section right here off, this, you know.
See, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
just this one screw, this guy right here. Just by taking that one screw out, pulling him off, that's going to get you access to the top tension. And anything that's going to be 90% of anything you want to do on the top end can be done right there.
I actually didn't know how to get these little doohickeys out.
Yeah, just a needle.
Yeah.
Or some fine point.
I did not know that. I thought they
Okay.
were there so I wouldn't get in there.
So we just took this end piece off. And now when I take the bottom apart, I usually pop this off first, and then I turn it up on its side and put all my bolts in there because that keeps them from all getting lost. But that's, you know, tech tip. So after that comes off, the next thing you want to do is,
Yeah, I do have quite a few bolts rolling around. I'll try to.
is if we look carefully, I don't know if it's going to show up on the camera, there is, right underneath here is a screw. And that screw does not need to come all the way out. It just needs to be loosened.
Why?
Because you just want to loosen it.
Why?
I'll show you why. Just do like half a turn on it.
I'll do it, but see, now you're getting scary on me.
We'll wait till you watch what happens. So, and if
I
you
think
loosen
it was
enough,
mine was already loose.
it may have been already loosened, but you should be able to pull that a little bit.
Yep.
So then the next thing you want to do after you pull that, let's go back to this camera here, Eddie, is, I'm going to change our angle,
Let's take this screw out.
is that, okay, yeah, right there. This hole right here is a screw in there, and this one you want to take out all the way. The one on the end over here, you just have to loosen. This one here, you want to take out all the way. Now, this is something.
That's a little screw.
That's the only different. That's really the only little screw you're gonna pull out.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So it's easy to know which one it is.
I know, but my screwdriver's not happy.
Oh, do you want to use a screwdriver?
No, he's
Okay.
Let's see what he does.
So with that out and that loosened,
Okay,
you
he's not-
grab this front end here and pull towards you, and that just folds right out.
No, I guess I have to try yours. I'm not getting it out. I think it's stripped.
It could be.
It was just spinning in circles.
Maybe it's already loosened.
Here, I'll let you give it a whirl.
It might already be loosened. Yeah, it's already open. And that just pulls. Now this.
I don't think anybody put this machine.
Oh, this is good. This is why we wanted to do this. This is the
why you
whole reason
don't
we came.
want to have in your machine.
Look
Oops,
at
am I
that.
in the way,
No,
Eddie? I am. Okay.
look at that.
I know, and there was even
awesomeness.
look it up in here. Look at the
Look at all
the
of
crap
that
in there.
funness.
I don't know how this thing was working.
No, that's not bad. I've seen worse.
Holy tamale! Even
So
the brushes
this is
hate.
now what if this is a good example because you can get this stuff out with just taking the top off here. But by taking this plate off, we can really get at there and just hit that with a vacuum cleaner and clean that out in good shape.
Wow.
And that's why you are going to want to, oh gosh, that just made everybody seasick. That's why you are going to want to pull that side plate off if you are cleaning. It's easy to do. It's just the two screws. Yeah,
Look at that.
the end screw, loosen the screw, and pull the screw off and pull it right out. Yeah, it's fantastic, isn't it? And a part of me likes the dirt like that because I feel like I
Yeah.
did something when I
Yeah, I
vacuumed
mean,
it all out.
even in here, let's fire up that vacuum.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this. Look at the size. Look at the size of this thing. It meows.
I know.
Meow.
Yeah.
Little kitty.
Little dust bunny?
Little kitty. No, they're kitties.
I was told that they were dust bunnies.
Well,
That's when they're small. That little
No.
this is a kitty.
I just remember being in the army. Private, what's this dust bunny doing here? That dust bunny's so big it deserves a name. What's that dust bunny's name, Private?
I want to make sure you don't
Oh.
suck up anything that doesn't need to get
So, yeah.
sucked up.
There's nothing small about dust bunnies. What was that guy? What was his name? Drill Sergeant? Drill Sergeant Vance. Oh gosh, he was a piece of work. What else? Oh, let me go
You're
grab
going to
that
put this
real quick.
back in so you can suck it up.
Yeah.
When was the last time this machine got used and was it successful? Or is this the one we all say?
That's the
This
classroom
is the
machine.
one?
Yes. Yeah, that's the classroom machine.
Well, I wonder if this has anything to do
Oh,
with
I don't
it
know.
being a finicky little bugger.
All right, so
I'm
let's.
getting out of your
You're gonna
way.
get out of the way,
I'm
and
getting out of the
we'll put it on. We're gonna film this. We're gonna watch the vacuum cleaner in action. Now, all I ever do is just turn it. What's that? is Eddie has it on the?
I don't know. It's not.
He's on that one
It's
over
on-
there. Yeah.
Oh, they look the same.
Oh. Yeah, they all missed it. They missed it. Wait. We'll do it again. We'll do a reenactment. We ready? Now, so we get that. Now, what you want to do? Did you enjoy the reenactment?
We're all watching the wrong machine.
Like, why is it? It's frozen. And you do want to turn your hand wheel a little bit so that bobbin hook moves, because what you'll get is there'll be stuff stuck behind there, and by turning that, you'll kind of knock it loose. And so then we're just I tell you not to use canned air.
You want to go on the side, there's some crap on the side.
Yeah, well, wait, I'm going to show you. Watch this awesomeness. Now, the reason I love a shop vac,
Look at that.
if you take a shop vac, this is the suck side. You can go to the blow side. And, did you ever watch that movie Spaceballs?
I think I'm going to need a bigger vacuum.
Well, I remember watching it as a child, and what's his face there? The guy, the black helmet, dark helmet. She went from suck to blow, and my parents thought that was hysterical.
It is.
As a kid, I didn't understand it, but we'll leave it there.
Okay.
So we said not to use canned air, but we just took it from the suck side to the blow side.
Are we going
And-
to have to cover our faces?
And
That
so
machine?
what we want to do is. What's that?
I see stuff flying.
Yeah, and if you'll notice, when I did this, I was staying over here and blowing in that direction so that everything has a place to go. If I blew this way, it all gets caught back here and makes a mess. So you always want to, when you're blowing it, you can use canned air for this, blow it in that direction because we don't have this end cap on, so it has a place to go.
Now, if you put it in that little tunnel and you blew, would it possibly find its way out?
Well, over here?
No, where you said not to go.
Right here?
Yeah,
And then I blew that way?
Yeah, what would happen? If there's something in there now, would we get it out?
No, it would go.
Would it just...
Well, the problem you have, okay, let's go back to the full screen here, Eddie. The problem you have is if you look over here on a machine, you have all these vent holes. So this is where it sucks air in to keep the motor cool. So there's already some sort of venting going on over here. So when you start sending stuff back in that direction, it might come out there, but more than likely it's going to get stuck in everything else that's going up in there and it gets caked in there.
Should you blow in those holes?
You could, but I don't know why you'd want. I
In
wouldn't.
case something blew out.
Okay, well, I've never tried it. Do we want to try it?
Let's go. Let's see if there's anything in
Okay.
there.
No, nothing. Well, that was exciting.
Well, it means there's nothing in there.
So anyway, now, if you're at home cleaning, this is probably, you can get in there now and pick through that. The other thing, let's look at that. There's a good example of some other stuff to look at
This
in there.
one's too clean.
I know, well, we just opened it up and we only used it a couple times. Now, can we see that in the
I'm
camera?
glad we have a
Oops.
dirty one. How's
What's
yours look, Brenda?
Clean.
Yours
I take mine apart.
You do?
I don't take it all, as much as that, but
I
I
have
have a
never.
little vacuum.
Yeah, I
so-
have never. So this is exciting.
So if
I'm
you
gonna
look
do that.
here, now if you want to look at the screen again, check this out. Up here, you see all that thread that's right there?
Yeah, how come you didn't get that?
Because that is actually stuck in there, because that right there is your cutter blade. If you're having issues with your machine cutting and you have a bunch of thread stuck in there like that, that would indicate that maybe you need to clean off your blade. And you do that by simply getting a pair of tweezers, or in this case, big Gorilla Mitts, and just pulling the thread out.
Does a blade ever get dull?
It can get dull, yes. And I don't have my tweezers over here. But, so you can get I didn't grab my tweezers well, maybe we can just get it with this guy here, because that was on our list of tools. But a pair of tweezers, or in this case, I'm just going to use the seam ripper scalpel, and I'm just going to put it in there and just kind of get all that stuff free.
Wow, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, that's just a bunch of thread.
Oh, yeah.
I got some tweezers, but they're not the
Yeah.
big ones.
But we'll get it. But you get the idea. So the way that works is so if you can see some sort of buildup right there, that's your cutter, and if you have anything built up there, then that's not going to be cutting right. The other thing you have to be careful of when you're playing in here
Don't cut your finger.
is this little plastic piece. That covers, can you see it?
Yeah.
That covers the tip of your blade.
Ooh.
If that gets pulled to the right, just right, that blade can pop right out.
Holy
Now on the, no, that's right, this has the same. There is it the 1350? On some machines, the blade is over here on the smaller machines, and that blade sometimes gets sucked out when people are vacuuming their machines.
So maybe we shouldn't use a shop vac on our machine.
Yeah, it's very hard to do, but if the tip of that gets hit just right and hit it with a vacuum cleaner, you could suck it up. I've only seen it
Does it
happen.
at least make a noise so we know we sucked up something
Nope.
we shouldn't have?
It just stops cutting.
disappears.
Just stops cutting, and you can actually see the blade in there. So if you look down there and there's no blade, then we've got to replace the blade.
Okay.
The other thing, and this is important, if you'll notice also, you see that little bit of carpet right there? That is not lint. That is not something to be removed. Leave that alone. That is needed to give enough friction off your bobbin thread so that it can cut. Because without any friction on the bobbin thread, you don't have any pressure to go against the blade. So if you clean out your machine and you pull that off, then your cutter's not going to work. And that also holds true for your bobbin case.
That has fuzz in it.
You see the fuzz right here? That fuzz is not lint.
Well, it has some lint on
That
it.
it is, but I wouldn't go crazy picking that off with a pair of tweezers. Just let it be, because that, again, if you remove that lint, your cutter won't work because it needs that friction to put pressure on the blade. So that's pretty much everything in a nutshell down there. You can get in there with, if you really were gonna clean this good, you get in there with a brush and brush this down a little bit more. You saw what we did with the vacuum cleaner. 9 times out of 10, that's plenty. If you wanted to go a step further, which we're not gonna do tonight, because this is kind of advanced what I'm about to tell you.
We
But
haven't covered that bobbin case, and I'm
we're gonna get to the bobbin case, but the bobbin case we can do without taking the machine apart.
Oh.
But I'm just figuring we'll have the
Let's
machine apart.
take one more piece apart.
Okay. This is one of those pieces though that it can get you in trouble.
Oh, well.
Okay, I'll just show you.
Okay.
So if you look on the machine here, you've got a screw here. Let me see.
Oh, yep.
A screw here and a screw over here. If you take those two screws out,
Ooh.
that removes this entire cutting plate because this little arm here goes back and forth to cut your thread. So you can pull this plate off and get at the lint and dust and everything underneath the plate.
Underneath this
Yes.
plate.
And I don't recommend it because you usually don't have to do it. And if you take it off, you have to make sure that this little arm sits back in the slot just right. Otherwise, your machine isn't going to cut thread. So I don't recommend doing that. And there's really no need to. If you hit this with a brush really good and hit it and blow it out, there's not going to be enough in there to worry about. But if for some reason you've been sewing in the middle of the Sahara and you have sand caked in here and you needed to get in there to get it out, that's where you would do it. But I don't recommend taking those off. The other thing is there's two little spacers underneath that have to be lined up when you put it back on.
Okay, that's
But you can get under there. You can get under there if you really, really had to. But I don't recommend it for just a basic cleaning because really you can get in there with a brush in this groove here and in the sides, so I wouldn't worry about it.
So when people bring their machines into a dealer for cleaning,
Yep.
is this the only area you take apart?
No.
Okay,
Okay.
so you go in deeper.
What we do, I'm going to let you in on the secrets, and I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble or not, but we go at least this far on every machine. Because if I get into this far and it looks fairly clean, like it's been maintained, and I can look in the edge in the side here
Yeah.
and see that, there's nothing to worry about.
yeah.
I'm not going to crack the case because there's more harm than good comes out of it. If all this looks good, there's more harm that comes out of taking the whole thing apart,
Yeah.
more potential problems than by just cleaning this lube. And there's also some oil points that we hit when we do it here at the shop, and I mean I can show you those too. But a lot of times we'll take it apart to this point, clean it real good, and if it looks really good and doesn't look bad, there's no reason to get deeper into the case. Now in some instances we'll get it apart and it'll look like somebody fought a war inside here and there's just caked in with dirt and everything, and we will pop it apart a little bit
The
further
whole case off, yeah.
to clean it out, just to make sure that we don't have something didn't get up in the back end, up in this side of the machine. There's not something up there that could cause trouble. But typically on a Dream machine or a Luminaire, that from a shop standpoint, that's pretty much what we're going to do out of the box. And based on what we see here, we might go a little bit deeper, but we don't, but I don't like to, if we don't want to, yeah.
Yep.
Because all your mechanical stuff is happening right here. And all of your dirt and dust and grime is all going to be right here on this bottom half. It's not, that's, now what is nice also, because they did a real nice job with the Dream Machine and the Luminaire, is it's a 3-piece case. So the top, a lot of machines, the top is actually just the back and the front half. There's a couple of Genomes that do this well, but on the Dream Machines, the top is a separate plate in and of itself. And you can pull this off fairly easy and get in there. And a lot of times, too, at the shop, we'll sometimes pull that off just to see what's under, just make sure everything's clean under there. But what you'll find, and I'm not going to do it tonight because there's no need to, what you're going to find is if you ever pull a top off, all this over here on this side looks fantastic. You get a little dust and lint over here where the thread's actually at. There's really no need to get that deep into it.
Is that what these screws are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're going to find those screws on the top, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And you can pull it off. And if you do pull the top off, it's not the end of the world. Take the screws out, it lifts right off. The bobbin winder is, there's a plug on the bobbin winder on the board. What I do every time I do this is I take it apart, put it back together, forget to plug
the bobbin winder in.
back in.
Yep.
So that's why.
Don't forget to plug the bobbin
The bobbin winder, yeah. Why did my bobbin winder work? Probably because I didn't plug it in. And that's pretty much, from a disassembly standpoint, that's pretty much everything.
Okay.
But you wanted to see bobbin cases.
I want to understand, because I've been bitten by the bobbin case.
The bobbin
tension
case.
Thing.
Okay.
And Brenda was bitten by the bobbin case thing the other day.
Okay, let's talk about
So I
bobbin
don't know
cases.
that everybody understands how the tension works in that bubby.
The bubby.
We get mad at those guys.
I know, I'm going to try to line this up before Eddie switches the camera view so that we're not making people sick.
Making people sick.
Okay. Does that work? Okay, we're making
Oh,
it work.
yeah, that's good. That's
Okay.
good.
So this is the bobbin case. Look at that. Ooh.
A very used and loved bobbin.
Yes, a bobbin case that has lots of stitches on it. Like I said, this machine has close to, and this is probably the original, well, it might be the original. So, what you've got on the bobbin case, if you look here, most brother machines out of the factory have a little bit of nail polish, is what it looks like on that screw there. That indicates to you, the user, that you don't want to play with that screw. Because most of these machines come with 2 other bobbin cases, one of them which is black and identical to this one, without the paint. That's the one you play with.
Ooh.
You don't have to. I'm just saying. That's why they give it to you.
Yeah.
And this is your bobbin tension. Now, a turn clockwise makes your tension tighter. A turn counterclockwise makes it lighter.
Clockwise.
Tight.
That's the opposite of righty-tighty, lefty-loosey?
Clockwise makes it tight. Counter.
Righty-tighty.
Yep.
Oh,
And
righty-tighty.
Yep. Clockwise. Yep.
lefty-loosey.
Clockwise
Okay.
makes it tight.
Can only remember one thing.
I hear you. Counterclockwise. Clockwise makes it tight. Counterclockwise makes it loose. Now, keep in mind that 1/8 of a turn is a big adjustment. If you're doing a quarter turn or a half turn, those are monstrous adjustments for bobbin tension. I do 1/8 of a turn at a time, a quarter of a turn if I think I'm way out. I would not do more than that. A half a turn is a lot. So you do want to do that, and the trick.
But before you do that,
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second.
because I played with that screw till I was blue in the face, and it didn't help me.
Yeah.
My issue.
Now I'm just going to show, because what her issue is now. The trick is that the online trick or the internet thing will tell you put a bobbin in, make sure it's full because the weight of an empty bobbin is different than a full bobbin. But you should be able to.
Let it drop.
It should
right?
drop a little bit if you shake it, and this one's probably a little tight, but you should be able to pick up the bobbin case with the bobbin in it, and then it should drop.
It just should unwind.
It unwinds a little bit, yes.
Okay.
Now, what bit Becky when she was trying to adjust the tension in her bobbin case is
Because I had no tension.
there's no tension in the bobbin case, and this happens a lot. This is the first thing I check for. Now, you can fix this with one of 2 tools. This, which is what I prefer, is the scalpel seam ripper, but a business card will do the same thing. You have to use the corner of the card, but for purposes here, I'm going to use the seam ripper. What you want to do, if you look closely, that's the tension screw right there, and if you look on the inside here, you can see that it pushes down a little spring. There's a little spring in there, and I just picked it up with my. I don't know if it's coming.
Not showing up too much. Go for it. Pretend there's something in there. You gotta dig it out.
And what you want to do is you put your and these scalpels work really nice because that little hooked edge on there. You put it in that spring, between the spring and the case, and you just kind of scoop it out. And 9 times out of 10, if you're having bobbin tension issues, you're going to get a big piece of lint or fuzz.
It isn't even really that big. I mean, when you say big, I think kitty. But
Yeah.
it wasn't that big.
But it's big enough that you can see it.
You can see it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be very
It does.
big.
Yeah, it's not going to
It
be.
can be dinky
Yeah.
and still knock you up.
And I'm not getting anything. But but you're just going to go in there, and you can do the same thing like I said with the corner of a business card, but I prefer the seam ripper. It just works a lot better. And you just kind of scoop that out. And what you're going to find is if you're having tension, actually that angle right there might work pretty good. From that angle there, you can kind of see what we're doing. We're just scooping in between the spring and the edge of the bobbin case. And that's where your thread rides right in between that spring right there. And if you get anything in there, then that spring can't shut all the way. So no matter how much turning you do on the screw here, it's just not going to change your tension. So you just got to, every now and then, just clean that out. And you're going to run into that. Lower quality cotton threads that tend to be really linty will give you problems. But you're going to run into this. It's just the nature of the beast.
The cotton threads.
Yeah.
That's what I was running.
Yeah, cotton thread especially.
And there wasn't lower quality; it was Orfil.
Yeah.
But it's still.
But sheer volume,
the sheer.
I
was doing embroidery.
Just because of sheer volume, if you're using cotton thread, you will get some lint in there, and there's even some debris off of polyester threads. You will run into something getting in there over time just by use of the machine, and that's a quick fix. You just scoop that out, and you should be good to go. And I would look to that first before I thought about adjusting the screw. Yes.
So would I from now on. Boy,
yes, that's the first thing.
I was so angry. I think at one point the screw came out.
Yeah. Oh, I have a lot of people that come in with they took the bobbin case out.
And I think it was like a Sunday night, so there was no bugging you.
Well, see,
so I was really.
Hit me on Facebook Messenger. If it's ever the weekend.
I was so furious, and then I.
As a pretty much general rule, if it's the weekend, hit me on Facebook Messenger. And I'll get back to you. I'm not going to promise any lead times because it's the weekend. Yeah. But a Facebook message will get to me, and I will check it. If it's emergency, we'll get you sorted.
Yeah. Well, I got it sorted.
But yeah, the bobbin case is a quick, easy one. And that one, and keep in mind, this is also a good rule of thumb. If the back of your piece looks like garbage, it's probably the top tension. If the top of your piece looks like garbage, it's probably the bottom tension.
Really?
Yes, because when your bobbin was loose, where did you see all the problems?
It was
on the top.
It was looping.
Yeah, it was looping on the top.
Looping on the top,
yep.
and I kept
and that was the bobbin.
working at the top,
yeah.
and that didn't work, so then I went in.
9 times out of 10, yes. 9 times out of 10, if you see the problem on the top, it's the bobbin. If the problem's on the bottom, it's the top.
And if I had done the drop test that you talk about, that thing would have slipped on the floor. And that's not good. There was no tension.
If there's no tension, yeah. If there's no tension, you'll get a lot of issues, yeah.
Yeah, the drop test is a good test.
Yeah, maybe, should we?
Let me see if I can get a good test on this one. Oh, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
I can't.
Well, you didn't do it right.
Well, that's why I can't then.
Okay, well, here, see.
Told you I can't.
Okay. Do we have anybody watching us? Oh, we do have people watching us.
Do the drop test. See, that I would consider tight.
This would be considered now. Keep in mind.
But if I were having no issues, I would leave it alone.
Yes, exactly. If there's no issues, leave it alone. Because the problem you have with the drop test is long arm quilting.
Yeah.
The drop test was actually developed by long arm quilters saying you should be able to do. Now, if you've ever seen a long arm quilt bobbin, it's twice this size. They're usually made out of aluminum, so they're a bit heavier than a piece of plastic. So a drop test on those is a little bit different because the bobbin itself is heavier.
You can feel it. You can almost, if you started to get used to this, just feeling it, you will learn what your bobbin should feel like.
Yeah, you'll get a feel for it.
Yeah.
Now, if it does this, because I'll actually just take it out of the tension altogether to show you what it looks like if it's not in. Yeah. See that? Oh no, because it accidentally caught. See that? Yeah. You can't pick it up at all. There's no tension.
No tension.
Yeah. All right. Should we reassemble?
We're reassembling.
Should we reassemble?
We should reassemble.
Is there any questions? Does our studio audience have anything? Or our YouTube audience? Bueller?
Did they all take your machines apart?
They're probably at home crying right now. Oh no! It's like when the first time Ronnie had an issue with her machine. She was brought in and I took it apart. And she came out back and it was naked. You know, all the plastic was off it.
It's really. I thought we were going to take the whole front off.
Oh no! Like I said, I don't do that unless I have to.
I was really excited about that.
But when I did it and Ronnie saw it, I thought she was going to cry. She was just like.
Yeah, there's certain things you can't.
I could just.
Now, when her thread was shedding.
Yeah.
Where'd you find her culprit?
Her culprit, if I remember right, was the check spring.
It was.
Yeah, the check spring.
She had a nasty knot. Of
Yeah,
thread
if
in
you
there.
yeah, what happens sometimes is when the shred sometimes thread shreds just because it's thread. In fact, I threw out a spool of a long arm
And
thread.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's correct. You get a bad spot
Yeah.
in a spool.
Yeah, I threw out an entire spool of thread last week because it was just garbage thread. It was just a bad batch, and there's nothing you can do before just throw it out. And it's going to happen even with the good stuff. And sometimes it will shred, and what will happen is that those little pieces of shred get wrapped up on that check spring, and then that exacerbates the issue.
Sewer's Aid has saved me.
Yes.
We should have shown
So-
some of that
Oh, I
Sewer's
can
Aid.
show
This
some.
time of year.
Oh, hold on. Okay.
Sewer's Aid.
You entertain her for a second. I'll get some Sewer's Aid. Sewer's Aid is the best. Now, what is my-
Follow me, Ed. Follow me.
So,
Sewer's Aid. When it is dry out, like we're having right now, and you're running a cotton thread, Sewer's Aid saves your life. And
So-
you get a spool so you can show. Oh,
I'm
you
gonna-
did.
I did,
Good.
yeah, see.
Yeah.
which camera should we do it on? We'll
This
do it down
one.
here. Okay, we'll do it down here. Okay. So Sewer's Aid.
Which is inexpensive.
It's fairly inexpensive little bottle. Now I'm gonna have to check stock because everybody's gonna want this now that we said it's
Well,
awesome.
this time of year, if you're having
Yeah.
thread breakage, this saves your butt.
This stuff is fantastic. Now this is Sewer's Aid, and all you do with it to make it work is you take the top off to start because that's what is a good place to start is so it's open. All you do is take it and you just run a bead of it down the side of your thread.
That's it.
That's all you got to do, and that will soak in. That will run through your thread path, and then a lot
And
of
you
your
can start using it right away.
yeah. You don't have to wait for it to dry. Just throw it on your machine and go.
Yeah.
And what you'll find is
I actually apply it when it's up on my machine.
Yeah.
I don't even take it off like you did really nice. I'll
Yeah.
have it on a spindle and go, oh, because you can see after a while,
Yeah.
like, and I say after a while, a long while, like I've embroidered for 12 hours nonstop, you know, and you'll start to see the breakage reoccur again, and I'll just go, oh, the green is giving me trouble. Zip, just
Yep.
do that,
You
and
don't
all of
get-
a sudden it stops breaking.
yeah, you don't need to take it off the machine. I do it.
Yeah.
I use it on the long arm all the time. It's like you give me trouble, go
Yeah.
out back and just put a stream of it.
Yep.
Works fantastic.
But see, I've used it on my embroidery machine.
Yeah.
My 10,
Oh, yeah, I
10
use it-
needle especially.
Yeah, I use it a lot. It's a
Or,
fantastic,
you know,
and it's
cotton.
especially with cotton threads. I don't see as much of an issue with polyester, but cotton it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, it does. Who would have thunk it?
I didn't know until I don't remember
That's
who told me
your line.
about it. Yeah, who would have thought that? Yeah, who would have?
I use it a lot when I get down near the end of the spool.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, because you got those winds that are wound in there. Yep.
Yeah,
Wow,
does it help
really
relax
tight.
the thread?
Yep.
Ah,
Yep.
so see, this should be in everybody's toolkit. You know how we have what's that glue stuff I'm always talking about? Stops things from.
Gilmers?
So freight check.
Oh, freight check.
Freight
Freight
check,
check should be in your toolkit. You never know when you're going to use that.
You see, and I know I don't have freight check on the shelf, so you're selling all the stuff.
Well, you should.
Yeah, I'm gonna
'cause
get it.
should
I'll
be
get
in
it. Yes.
Stocking
Yeah,
stuffer.
Yep.
that.
Freight check is something you should have in your
And
toolkit.
Sewer's Aid.
Sewer's
Sewer's Aid,
Aid
yeah.
should be a regular thing.
So
in
now
your
we're gonna put
toolkit.
together a checklist of
Yeah, and the tulip pink tweezers.
You
I'm
ever
sorry,
see, like-
nobody beats those.
yeah. You ever see those videos about the survival kits that people make?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this should be in your survival kit.
Yeah.
The 10 best
No,
survival.
this is my first go-to. If
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of
Yeah.
breakage,
First, yep, absolutely.
I'm like, come on, especially during the winter. It's funny. It's definitely got to do with the humidity
Yeah,
level in
once
the
it
air.
starts getting
because
dry,
during
yeah.
the summer, I don't have as many issues.
Yeah.
But
In the winter, yeah.
it has to come out. I don't know the science, but it works. All right.
All right. So we put
All
them back
right,
together.
So yeah. Boop,
All right.
boop, boop, boop. Oh,
So-
take your nasty brush.
Your nasty brush.
It's a very nasty brush.
Nasty brush. Okay. So putting the bottom back together, we're just gonna we'll just use this here, same way we took it apart.
Well, we
Use
have
this.
to remember that.
If you look at this, you'll notice there's two little nubs right there. Those just catch the edge of your case right here, and it just slides right in.
Slow down.
It just this sits right there, and just slides right in. I say that. I'm at a weird angle. Oh, we broke it.
No, I didn't break it. You took it off, remember?
Yeah, I know. It's hidden back there. There we go.
Oh, there we have it. And then
Yep.
the little screw goes in there.
Yeah, we'll demo it one more time because I'm aware of how quick I did that because I get used to doing. So, like I said, that there is just going to sit right in there, catches the edge, and that bites the edge, and that just slides right in. You may have to bend this a little bit to get it to go in all the way. And make sure when you
This doesn't ever tighten, just so you know.
Okay, yeah, that might be stripped out. Now you want to be careful too when you're putting this on. Make sure that the clips here on the end, on this end
No,
here,
we did tighten. Okay, cool beans.
this little clip here on the end, make sure that slides under that screw that we loosened over there, and it just slides in like that. Okay, and then you just kind of hold that in place, and then you can tighten that screw so it stays put.
Which screw are we tightening again?
Just that one on the
Yeah,
end,
the
and
one
just
on
make
the
sure.
end.
Yep, and then you put this little one over here.
No, I don't have a screw there anymore.
Did it fall out?
No, it's just a flat piece of thing. You sure?
Because what I was just.
Oh, I see it. I see it.
It might be behind the tabs.
I see it.
You want to make sure that it's not
I'm
behind
gonna
the
have
tab.
a new job. Eddie, I'm gonna take your job.
All right, so that goes there. The end here,
I know you're worried about it. I can see.
pretty straightforward. Just sits on the end, just like that. Yes, like
And
that.
you gotta do righty-tighty, because if you don't, the screw comes all the way out.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct. Righty tighty, lefty
Little
loosey.
little too late.
If it comes all the way out, just put it back in.
I did. Okay.
And I just dropped the screw.
Oh, see, I didn't do that.
Yeah. Because that's just the way it's gonna be. Oh.
And if you drop a screw and you groan,
Well,
it
that's
makes
what you
it
gotta
easier
do.
to find.
That's just the way it is.
This is like the Amazing
Well,
Race.
that's why you should have a magnet up there.
Yeah, I have. Well, what I'll do is I've got a magnet. No, that one. That should work.
I'm
I
beating
think that's
you.
the right size.
And I have more screws.
What's that?
I'm beating you.
Is that? No. All right. Well, you know what? I'm not going to worry about that right now.
Yes, you are.
No, that one's easy to get at. So.
It'll always be missing now.
You know what? Won't. Okay, fine. Give me a second.
It'll
That-
never
this
be.
is what people
We
do.
know you, Brent.
This is what people tuned in for, was to watch me look for screws.
You're looking at your butt right now.
Oh.
You can wait. We
Yep.
don't want to look at that butt anymore.
No.
No.
Sarah's at home looking at that butt, thinking, yep. She's like, yep, that's all mine. He's coming home. What did I get myself into? There, see, I found a screw. We're good to go. All right, so the end goes on there. Now, I'm going to come over here and we're going to help Becky out for a second. Because,
Because I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay,
I'm
you gotta get
doing
out
it
the-
backwards.
what's that? No. There's a few things that Becky's doing. This is a fantastic learning opportunity.
I'm doing it backwards, I know.
So if you look at the machine
Oh,
here,
I wasn't supposed to put that on
she
yet.
put this on first. That does not go on first. And this is a fantastic opportunity to teach you all something as well that's very important.
I can't reach. Can't even give you bunny ears. I want a stool.
We have a stool.
No, not tonight.
Okay. Anyway,
Finish showing what I was
So-
doing wrong.
one of the things that you will do a lot, and this is specific. Oh wow, I just keep dropping stuff. This is specific to. This is not going to be the same on Luminaire. Never put this in first. That is a bad idea.
I didn't do that.
I know, but I'm just making sure people don't do that now.
Okay.
On that one you want to, so hold on a second. Always put your plate on first. And then we drop 2 screws on there. And the reason that we do this, do you know why we do this?
Do what? What are we doing?
On the Dream Machine. Now this doesn't apply to the Luminaire. You're going to have to put your bobbin case in before you do the Luminaire.
I was just comparing. This bobbin case doesn't have the white
Yeah.
fuzzy that that
I'm
one
not
has.
sure. This might be this might be when I pulled off something else. The bobbin case, if it goes in wrong, we already got that one started. Let me come back over here.
Don't put that one in
Okay,
here.
I'll put
That's
this.
ugly.
Okay.
I want this one.
We'll put the pretty one in. The pretty one. All right. This is important. This is.
I've actually screwed this up.
No, you're all set.
No, not tonight.
Oh.
Before.
So if you put your bobbin
It
case
broke
in here,
my bobbin case.
if you put your bobbin case in here right now, I don't have any top or anything on it. Okay, that goes in. You see the little bit of movement. If you look closely, you'll see there is a white dot here, and there's a white dot on your bobbin case that lines up.
Yeah.
this bobbin case is incorrectly. Now, you can also put bobbin cases in incorrectly. Like I could make this fit probably sideways. And this is way more easy. This is way easier to do on a Dream Machine than it is on a Luminaire. So if I put that in sideways and I could get it to fit, that bobbin case is not lined up and you will break it and cause trouble.
I did. I broke
And
it.
that is why on a Dream Machine, that's why we put the plate on first. Because then the bobbin case only goes in one way with the plate on first on a Dream Machine. Yeah. You can probably get it in another way if you really, really tried, but it's only really going to fit one way. It makes it way easier to keep you from doing it wrong. On the Luminaire, they've got an extra piece in there somewhere that keeps you from putting this in too cockeyed. So this will usually go in the proper way on a Luminaire. So you don't have to worry about putting you can't put the plate on after before you put the case in on a Luminaire because it's because it's got the button on its one piece case. So you always have to put this in first on the Luminaire, then put this in and then put your plate on, and you just pop that in, and then this sits on there. But on the Dream Machine, because it's got the two-piece case, the two-piece plate, you can put the bobbin in funky. So always put the metal plate on first, then put your bobbin case in.
I noticed I tightened my screws, and now my bobbin case is nice and tight. Is that what it should be? Whereas before, I could move it all around.
Now, this is a fantastic example of everything that's
wrong.
Wrong, yes.
Okay.
We should have tightened the screws before we put the bobbin case in. No, this is
I
fantastic.
tightened it afterwards.
Yes. So what we run into here is she tightened this case. Okay, so she's got this in here, and
it won't move.
It's not coming out. I cannot get that out unless I. And the reason is I put the plate on and I just started the screws.
Yeah, so I finished them.
And so Becky finished putting the screws in, but again in the wrong order. See, this is a fantastic. I'm glad you're here with me.
You told me to put the bobbin was in.
Yes,
oh, no, the plate was on,
but the
so
plate wasn't tight. Yeah,
in.
but the plate wasn't tight. I had to tighten the plate.
So we have to tighten.
You want to tighten the plate because if the plate's not tight, you can see where she got that in. She actually had it in there sideways.
Yeah, my
and so as she started to tighten it, it tightened everything in there.
So you can screw up your bobbin.
Yes. So always put the plate on and tighten it down.
Tighten it.
And then I'm just gonna then put your bobbin case in.
Okay. Hear that, teen?
And yes.
Took one for
and
the
it
team.
wants to wiggle a little bit. There should be a little bit of wiggle to that bobbin
see,
case.
I knew it was wrong because it wasn't wiggling.
And if it's not wiggling, it is wrong. That is correct. Because do you know why it wiggles?
Because the thing you can spin.
Yes, because it has to wiggle, because if it doesn't wiggle, the top thread can't get around the bobbin.
Yeah.
It's too tight and it gets hung up and makes a mess.
It breaks.
And so after that gets put on there, we just put that on and it slides right in.
Again.
No, I just figured while I was there I'd show it to him. You're fine.
Let's see what else I can
That's
screw
why
up.
we have this machine, is so we can demo fun things like
where's
that.
my bobbin now?
I put it in. The bobbin? The
It's
case
in.
is, yeah.
Oh, and you put that on there too.
Oh, yeah, it's all together.
All right. Awesome possum.
Why is that? Oh, look at that bit. Okay. So that's your bottom half. Back together. That's all there is to it. And like I said, that is what you're going to... I would spend more... That's where all your cleaning really happens. You don't need to take the entire top apart. All right. So far, so good?
And you don't have to feed up your bobbin thread after you put your bobbin in. And you don't have to take your top thread and stick it underneath your precipice before you start going.
You don't have to do any of that.
None of that's going to hurt my machine.
Yeah, you don't need to do any of that on... That's correct.
Just making sure I don't have bad habits.
No, all that stuff doesn't need to happen.
That's one of the things that
Those are
people
older machines.
Yeah, but that's one thing though that people are still
And
doing.
I have experimented.
And it's
Of
because
not-
we were taught that.
That's right.
And
That-
now it's like, what a waste of time.
I know.
So I'd like everyone to know you don't have to do that. Load and go.
Yep. And if you ever do your threader and it sticks out a little bit, the thread sticks out the back a little bit, you don't have to pull it off. Just start sewing and it takes care of itself once it's threaded. All right. Next thing we want to do, and Becky's already there.
Well, not really.
Well, she's kind of got the
I'm
idea.
trying to do it, but
All right.
I'm not successful.
Let me set the camera up before Eddie transitions over to it, so we don't get people seasick staring at the. That. Yes. Okay.
Oh, there is a screw I have to put in.
Where? Not on that.
Oh, there's a hole.
Yeah, just a second. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece here, and you have to make sure that it gets in. Let me turn this
You're
this
gonna break
way.
it putting it back on.
No, we're not. So this has to. So this is your piece here. This slides in behind there. The other thing is this door here has to be inside that space.
Yeah.
The other big issue is where is your take-up lever at? Because you see my take-up lever in there?
Oh, it's not all the way up.
You don't want it all the way up.
Oh, see.
You see my take-up lever right there? You want it about halfway down.
Okay.
Because if you look at this, you see you have all this,
Yep.
you have a much bigger gap here than you had at the top.
For that
If the
thing.
take-up lever at the top, you're not going to get that around it. So you want the take-up lever about halfway down, and then you get the threader door in that space there, and then you have it slightly angled. In that top, you'll feel it kind of fall into place. There's a little nub. That falls into place, and then that bottom slides right in. And if you look closely at the nub, locks it into place.
There's a little nub up here that
Yep.
I slid over,
Yep,
right?
it slides over that nub,
that
and then it
works.
slides over that nub,
Yep.
and you're right where you want to
There
be.
it is.
Yep,
There it is. And you know you got it right because your
yep, everything looks
color
good.
lines up.
Yep. And that's all there is to that.
Okay.
And like I said, this, you may want to get into there if you have issues back here, but I wouldn't, on the normal course of cleaning, I wouldn't take this off. I would just worry about taking the bottom apart. And then the next piece we're going to put on is the top here, and that just slides on. Now, as I drop more screws, but now let me just see this one here before you throw it on there. Oops.
I was looking for that.
Okay, there's both of them. If you look closely inside of here, you'll see that there's a let's do this one over
It's
here.
over here.
You'll see you've got your two screw holes. There's a screw hole here, a bolt hole, and one down here. This right here, if you look at the end of your machine, that hole right there
Yeah, I see
lines
it.
up.
There's a little metal hole.
There's a, see that big post
Oh,
right there?
yeah.
There's a big post right on the end of the machine.
Oh, you're gonna make everyone sick again.
Oh, did Eddie? See that post right there? That post right there goes inside that hole. That's kind of what you're trying to align to. That's going to be the big pain in the butt that you're trying to hit.
Yep.
That post goes inside that hole, and then you're in good shape.
Okay. I think I had it.
Yeah, you probably did, and I was just wanted to show people that.
Yep.
Now, on this one, you don't have that issue. On the Luminaire, you're not going to have that same, you're not going to really have anything to line it up to. It's just going to kind of feel right. But you will notice on the back you have the hole here. That does want to line up on here with your plug for your move-it foot. And you do have that same issue over on the Dream Machine as well. That's another kind of a check. And this, again, keep in mind that little door that we open, make sure that that's open because it's going to make it a lot easier to get it over the top of all of the electronics that are in there. And it should just slide. It should slide on without too much trouble. If you just
Do you have to tighten these really tight or just?
no,
you
just
know,
snug them up. You don't.
snug.
Yeah, they don't need to be super tight. That was me pushing that forward. Now, with these, one thing to keep in mind when you're putting these on is there is no moving parts up here. It's 7 o'clock. My brother's on his way home. There is, on the Dream Machine and on a Luminaire, there is nothing up here on this end piece that you have to worry about. The only thing that really you want to make sure is that this plug is lined up. On like a Brother, like a 1350, there is the needle threader lever that does have to align with the mechanisms inside. So that's something to be aware of on other machines, but on these, there's nothing to really, so as long as this sits on there like, and it looks right, then it probably is right. There's nothing mechanically that's attached to this cover. So if the screw holes line up and the plastic lines up, you did it right. You don't have to lose a lot of sleep over, is it right where it's supposed to be? Because like I said, if the plastic lines up and it looks pretty, then you did it right. And then you just put those two screws in. Now on a Dream Machine, it's just gonna be these two screws and you're done. Now, keep in mind on the Luminaire, we got to put these 2 screws in. Then we want to close our door.
Oh, and tighten those up again.
Yeah, we're going to close our door because now if this isn't put on straight and right, this door is not going to close right. So that's something to keep in mind. That closes up. You just snug these up. And that snugs up like so. What's that?
Yeah.
And that just snugs up, and that's where that wants to be. And then we reapply our plastic piece. Again, you've got 2 little nubs on the bottom that fit in that hole there. That just slides in and pushes up. Now that's going to be loose until I tighten these 2 screws up here that cover that piece of plastic. And then that's the end. Then that's really the only difference. The big difference between a Dream Machine disassembly we just did and a Luminaire is this little bit here, the 2 screws here, the 2 screws here, and the loosening and the 2 screws. That's really the only difference as far as disassembly goes with these 2 machines. And I'm just going to leave this out. I haven't put it completely back together yet.
I did.
Nice job. Wait, is it elbow bumps? Isn't
Oh,
the
yeah, that's
appropriate?
right, that's right.
Because we're all going to die of the plague if we high five.
Yeah. Good thing you remembered.
Well, I know, because I don't want your people watching this and being like,
I know.
she high fived somebody. Now he's going to die of COVID.
Yeah.
So this is the last bit that goes on. I saved this to last because you can put this on and take this off without disassembling the whole thing. And you can see that we still have access. With this off, you have access to your tension spring here. So this is a quick, easy fix. If your top tension is super loose and you have problems, you can just pull this out, pull this off, and you can get right up there. Yeah, and look at that without getting into too much trouble. And now when you put this in, that lines up. And there's a little spot on here. If you see this pin right here, that pin lines up with that slot there. So when you're putting it back together, you just make sure. If it doesn't sit in the pin,
because it doesn't sit flush, right? It sticks up.
It's going to stick up a little bit, but you want to be in that pin.
That's
yeah.
Because of the thread.
The thread, yeah, the thread wants to come through there. But I have seen some machines that have been put back together where they really forced it and it's kind of mangled up there.
Oh.
It's not the end of the world, but from an aesthetic standpoint, that's where you line it up. The pin goes to that. And then you put your screw back in.
Is it still true that you should travel with your needle down when you pack your machine, or is that another old wives' tale?
That's not something I would worry about. I mean, you probably could travel with the needle down. I don't know that it makes a difference.
In the olden days, they used to tell us to leave our needle down, leave fabric in the machine.
Yeah, the foot was supposed to be down.
Leave your needle, yeah. But I don't do that, so I was wondering if I was going to cause an issue.
No, the other thing that I don't worry about is there's that big "Don't touch your embroidery arm" sign on the
machine.
On the machine.
Yeah, and if you do, it parks it so it won't fit in your case.
Yes.
It puts it in the wrong position.
Right.
So you can.
So I just take it off.
You can move your embroidery arm. You can manually move it with your arm. It's not going to be the end of the world.
It makes a terrible sound, Brent.
It does make. Don't do it fast and hard.
I did that to get it in my case the very first
gentle.
time, and it went.
You'd be very gentle and move it.
But it reset itself when I put it
back on. Yeah, it'll reset. But my general rule of thumb for that is, my general rule of thumb is, do not move that arm if it's connected to the machine. If it's connected to the machine, don't touch the arm. When it's disconnected, feel free to move about the cabin.
But if you just tip it,
makes a terrible noise.
If you just tip it, it moves itself very
gently.
It
does?
Yeah.
Yeah, gravity, depending on the machine.
Oh, I didn't
of them
know that. See, I just took it and made it fit.
No.
And then when I put it back in the machine, it made a crappy noise the first time, too.
Yeah. No,
I thought I'd really broken it. But I didn't.
Where I keep mine, because it always ends way out, and it won't
it does.
fit in.
Oh, it'll fall down.
So I just tip it. And
I got a couple
of right down to where it should be.
We'll show you because I've got a bunch of arms kicking around here.
Awesome.
Let me just put
That's
this
cool.
back together. Okay. So that's disassembly and maintenance. But what we're talking about is, if you'll notice, in fact, I'll show it right on this camera here so you can see.
Yeah.
You see that?
There you go.
That picture right there?
Yeah.
Don't move this. Okay, so you ready?
No, is that a new one?
No. So watch what I'm gonna break the law. It's like pulling the tag off a mattress.
It says do not.
Oh, that didn't make a terrible noise. Mine made a terrible noise when I.
Yeah, some of them might. But you hear that noise that you're hearing is just the motors in there. I mean,
That's the noise.
Yeah.
and that's just the motors moving and the belts. But you can, as long as you're not forcing it, you can move it slightly. But like I said, the caveat being it's not plugged into the machine. If it's plugged in the machine, do not touch this.
But just turn it the other way
Yeah.
and watch the.
Yeah, if you turn it up, so you watch. Maybe.
Oh, mine does.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Just
Gravity will fit.
yours is probably heavier.
Yeah.
Heavier
Oh,
arm.
probably. 'Cause it's
But that's just a good rule of thumb. You gotta move it. Okay.
Well, good. I don't have to be scared about that anymore then.
But like I said, if it's attached to the machine, don't do that. Which you can, but I'm gonna tell you not to because it avoids problems.
Cool.
I think that's everything. Did we forget anything?
I don't know.
Did we
You
cover
answered a lot of my questions, Brent.
Did I? Okay,
You
that's
did.
good.
Now I'm really good.
And like I said, if you do have to,
trouble.
if you have to get into this end of the machine, give me a call. And there's really, like I said, there's not a lot on that end that you really want to get into anyway.
Because that's electronics.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
another quickie. Just this is another. Let me change my camera angle here so you can see. Is
Oop, you got me.
this? How many times have you?
Oh!
How many
Oh,
times?
that is a good thing.
How many times have you put an entire spool of thread underneath that?
Too many.
All you do is you grab it like so.
No, they tell you not to do that in the book.
And
Oh, you
carefully
just
pry it
lift
up. Comes right up.
In the book, it tells you not to do that.
And then you
in
can
the
just-
manual, it says don't ever do that.
Don't
That's it.
believe
I've never
Yes,
seen
it does.
Okay, well,
And that's why I don't. But see, this one is down there good. Oh,
Yep.
See, once you do it once, they get easier to do.
yes. Now,
But in our manual, it tells you don't do this because you could break it.
yes. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that there's two little tabs here.
Yeah.
That's what holds it down, and then you've got a notch here. So when you put it back on, that notch goes around that notch right there. So when you put it back on, you don't want to force it on. Well, you put a little bit of mustard up behind it to
Oh,
get
for
it
the
down.
first part, because
Yeah.
it has to get over that little
Yeah,
thing.
get over that. Now you'll notice then
Then you
I
grind it up.
slowly turn it till it lines up,
Yep.
and it's right where it wants to
Pops
be.
in.
But don't force it. You gotta slowly turn it till it lines
Yeah.
up. That's what I gotta do. But that, yes, that happens a lot. Just that, like I said, you just
Okay,
put it
so
over the
it's
top.
okay
and just,
for us to break the rules.
yeah, and just kind of pull it a little
Okay.
bit, and it pops right up.
Right.
And if you break it, and you know,
And you know how that
oh,
happens?
come back over here. I forgot this one too.
Oh.
And I can't show you how many times. This is always one of my
Oh,
favorites.
upside down.
That they come in like that. Why won't my bobbin white?
How that happens for me anyway is when I go to put the thread in that little slicer dicer
Yep.
thing, I don't really catch the slicer dicer thing, and I'm actually putting it underneath
Yes.
the bobbin,
Yep.
and
Happens a
that's
lot.
when you're going.
Yep.
Now, somebody asked me on our bobbins, do we have to come up through the hole?
No.
We
you don't.
just put it in
You
and
drop
we go
it
through the slicer.
and you just wrap
you
it
don't
half
have
a dozen
to
times.
feed it through that stupid
No,
little
you don't
hole
have
at the
to, no.
top and hold it.
Nope. You just wrap it. I'd wrap half a dozen times, cut it, and
Yeah,
go.
6 times, and make sure you cut it,
Yes.
not put it underneath.
Yes. And if you wrap it, and if it doesn't start spinning, you didn't wrap it enough times. Wrap it a couple more times and then cut it.
Okay. Or it's not in the cutter. That's
Yeah.
what happened to me.
Yeah.
We won't catch if it's not in the
Yeah.
cutter. Okay. That was
All
a
right.
good one.
Is there anybody else from our live studio audience?
Nope, they all left.
Well, I guess it's not our live studio. It's our YouTube audience. Any YouTubers out there? No.
Well, I thought it was great.
I mean, we've got some participation.
I,
And yeah, so we'll
Very-
just cover Kimberbell again. We will be doing more of that in the next year. We're
yeah,
putting
I'll,
that together.
I'll look at the blanks.
And honestly, this time of year is kind of crazy around here. So me trying to get a calendar together and tell you what's going on is expect something after the second week of January. We'll have better ideas stuff. Oh, which reminds me, last call for Christmas quilts was yesterday.
So,
And that being said,
and
if you come and plead your case, I might be able to get it in.
oh my
We
gosh.
had about 10 that came in today.
Yes.
Holy tamale.
But they were all people I were.
Expecting?
Some of them had not called, but I knew that they were going to come in because
Okay.
there's just people I know, and I'm not
Okay.
saying it's a bad thing. I was expecting that. But yes, we could probably still get a few more in if we have to. The other thing, we will be closed, the shop, we're closing at 3 o'clock on Christmas Eve, which is
The 24th.
the 24th, because that's when Christmas Eve is, the 24th.
Okay.
We're closing at 3 for no other reason than I can, because it's Christmas Eve. And we will be closed until I believe it's the 4th of January.
January 4th.
Because we're just going to take the rest of that week off and then all the next week because I want to go on vacation. And then I'll be back here January 4th to open up and have fun. So
Awesome.
if you want your quilt done
So come
before
in and get
January
your-
4th, you want to get it in here sooner than later because it's going to have to be done by
If you need any
Christmas.
supplies, don't dilly-dally.
Yes.
What, right? You got
Yes.
to get your bones in.
Yes, get in here and get what you need because we're going to be closed for that week because I'm got to bring a kid to Miami and I'm going to take my time coming back because it's going to be nice weather down there.
You have to quarantine when you come back, you know.
Then I'm not going.
You have to quarantine.
He isn't gonna stop.
Yeah, but do you have
He's gonna
to?
slow
But that's
down
my
and she's
question.
gonna
Yeah,
jump out of
but
the
that's a
car.
good question because if I don't stop anywhere,
I'm just.
it's her that's bringing the disease with her. I didn't get out of the car. I'm not bringing anything back with me.
Oh, wait, she's coming back with you.
No.
No.
Oh, she's
staying.
going down there.
Oh,
Oh,
She's
wow.
going there.
Yeah, but the rules in New Hampshire are as soon as you go out of New England,
Okay.
when you come back, you have to quarantine for 10 days. Or you can test out after 7. Which
Okay.
makes
There
no
may be-
sense to me.
There
But,
may be something
So-
different by then.
yeah.
So we won't
I'm just
worry about
letting you know
I'm
it's going to be
just
a
gonna
longer
say
vacation.
it might be, but all I'm gonna say is
Wear
that
your mask.
yes, Madgar, January 4th is a Monday, so it's the 5th. The 5th will be open. Thank you for catching that.
Oh.
Thank you, Danny, for keeping us straight.
Well, that gives you one more day.
Yes, and just so you all know, January 3rd is my birthday.
So,
Normally, I would tell you, bring me some Swiss rolls. It's my favorite treat in the world, but I don't need Swiss rolls, as you can tell from
Hey,
my
Tina,
belly.
if you're watching, how come you're not commenting?
Is Tina watching?
Yeah, according to her
Maybe-
hubby.
Maybe she's camera shy.
Did you learn anything, Tina? Because we did a lot of stuff.
Maybe she's watching on her phone and it's hard to
She's gonna
chat.
watch the reruns.
Yeah, anyway, we've been going on for
That's
like an
a
hour
lot
and a
of
half.
people.
Anyway,
Yeah, anyway.
so all that being said, thank you for watching. I think we covered it. Do we cover
Yeah.
everything? What's our name?
Yeah, and then some. I
Oh,
really
and
thought
what
I
is
really
today?
liked this. I found this
19th.
very informative. I can't wait to go home and take my.
So that
machine
means
apart.
that our next thingamabob that we're doing is in
Is-
January.
Yeah, because otherwise it's December 23rd.
And that's not gonna happen.
And I don't think that's
Yeah, it's
going
not
to be
good.
a
That's not a good
flyby.
idea.
So it won't be till after the holiday.
After the holidays, and we might have
Unless I get, a mood and I say to you, hey, I made something, want to
Yeah,
pop it up.
and-
You
yeah.
never know.
and we're always open to suggestions for things too. If you want to see something, comment and shoot me an email. What do you want to see us do?
Yeah.
I make this up as we go along. Becky likes to be a little bit more
I
prepared.
do like to be prepared.
So
but
give
this
us a
is
couple
fun,
weeks,
so
give us a week or
it's
two
okay.
notice, and we can put something together. I'm just fly by the seat of my pants.
I want to do some work on some software.
Software, yes,
that's-
and Brilliance, I think. Is
Yes,
what, yes.
I want to introduce that and do baby steps, and that would be good for after the holidays.
Yes.
I think between now and the holidays, people are kind of like, ah. So we don't want to do too
Yeah.
heavy a subject, but
Yeah. So after,
if you want to get it, so you have it. If you want to get
so
it for Christmas,
maybe if you're
woo,
looking for
woo.
what do I get for Christmas, maybe put in somebody's ear you want in Brilliance.
Yeah.
Go to
Yeah.
their website. It's nothing we sell.
Especially if you don't have the big fancy dancy machines.
Yes.
I would like the class to be not centered so much around the big fancy dancy machines, but some of the
Yes.
smaller machines, because how you live without software with those smaller machines blows my mind.
That's a good point.
So I would kind of like to team it up with one of those.
Yes. So we're gonna be getting some fun stuff.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Next year, all sorts of good. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that stuff. Apparently, that's important. I don't know.
And when's our block of the month start?
Yes, Nebula Block of the Month.
I'm excited
I
about
want to say
that.
it's starting in January. It's gonna start in January. We've
So
got
we'll-
some of the fabric and
We'll probably be doing some dog and ponies on that.
yes, absolutely. And that'll begin.
That'll be
We
fun.
have enough kits, I think, for 20 people for the Block of the Month. So if you're interested, shoot me an email or give us a call and we'll put you on the list. I have, honestly, it's been crazy. I haven't got it organized yet. I just know that the kits are coming in. We'll have 20 of them.
What a surprise.
But what's nice about this one, what I'm super excited about as a shop owner, the kits just come. There's the instructions in
Brenda
the fabric.
and I will get it organized.
It's all.
Right,
It's, I don't
Brenda?
have to cut anything. It's just gonna show up in a box, and I just give them out.
Yeah.
So I just need lists. Just
I know,
people.
but we want to do dog and ponies with them too.
Oh, yeah, we will.
wanna-
I'm just saying.
Because there's new rulers with
Yeah, I can make the
Oh.
rulers. Yeah, it's Nebula, and it's using the Tula Pink line.
Yes, which I'm very excited.
It's very pretty. Even if you're not a fan of Tula Pink, the way these blocks come out, they actually look kind of nice.
They look really nice.
Well, what I'm saying is, there's those people that look at Tula Pink and want to throw up. Mom.
Well, not all her fabric makes you do that.
I know. I like her fabric personally,
I
but I'm
know.
just saying that the way these blocks are made is
Yeah.
the craziness of the fabric gets lost. They just have nice designs.
It's almost like
Yes.
English paper piecing on steroids.
Yes. They're-
Without the paper
Without the
piecing.
paper
Yes.
piecing.
That's what I like about it.
And I think English paper piecing, I mean, leave it up to the English to come up with something weird
No,
like
I
that.
like English paper piecing.
Yeah.
I love it.
But mention the Terra blocks if anybody has.
Yes.
Oh, I gotta take inventory.
Tara, our last attempt at block of the month. As usual, as per our usual arrangement, it all went good for about 6 months and then it fell apart.
Because
so
of you.
well, no, actually, I'm gonna blame this one on the vendors.
Okay.
Because what they do is
I
they
like blaming him.
they ship the fabric quarterly. Like a block of the month you get all at once is awesome. I cut it and you just come get it.
Yeah.
When they ship it quarterly, then I can't give it to you all at once and I got to keep track of it, and that's when
Yeah,
it gets ugly.
and that's when it gets
But so if you're doing Terra and you're missing any blocks, let us know. We've got some blocks left. We might have enough to
Okay.
do a couple kits. But if you need it, figure it out because we're also running out of fabric. So if you like screwed something
so I gotta
up,
do my
Well, we've got
inventory.
the kits
Yeah.
from 7 to 12.
yeah.
And a lot of people had come in and gotten the first 6.
Oh,
Yes.
it didn't come back in
But
for the
they-
rest.
because-
Well,
COVID.
COVID, because we got
Yeah, we did get-
the last 3 kits came in right at the height of COVID. So if you were
Yeah.
doing Terra, we have the rest of that for you.
We have the rest of it.
Yeah,
We're
you
saving
get your
that for you.
fannies in here. Because
Yes.
we're only gonna save it so long.
That's correct. Anyway, I
Because
think
Brent will lose it.
well, what happens? I lose all sorts of stuff.
I know you do.
I have
Which is
so
why
much help.
You might want to stay away from the
Well,
nebula.
if you notice how
okay,
clean
we
the
might
shop, the shop is super clean now, and I have nothing to do with it. I just can't find anything.
Yeah. I'm very proud of you.
Well, we can thank Danny and her. You see, look at that concurrent
She's-
connections, like
she's-
5 of them. I bet all
yeah.
5 of those are Danny.
She's policing you.
Yes.
And I love it. I love coming in and knowing I did. I inspected. I'm
Oh,
like, is
yeah.
everything weird? Any extra goodies back here?
Yeah,
No.
I'm
Woo!
trying to behave myself.
Between Danny, Ronnie, and Lynn, let me tell you.
Brent's harem.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what we call it.
Eddie,
Brent's
you
harem.
got to put our title screen up for people now because we had
Yeah.
some people sign on that didn't get to see what we started out with.
Brent's harem.
See, we put Eddie to work today, and look what he made us. A fantastic title screen.
Yes, those are owls on my sweater.
That is so see, we're getting professional now because we have a title screen. Anyway, on that note, we should probably sign
Yes,
off because it's
yes.
getting late and we've rambled on for long enough. And
Yeah,
there's nothing to be
but
sorry for,
very
Danny.
informative,
I
very
appreciate
informative.
the help. All right, thanks everybody. We'll see
Thank
you all
you.
later.